How's everyone doing today? Welcome to this year's last Poco's launch event, and thank you all for joining the stream today. My name is Angus, and I'm Head of Product Marketing at Poco. As a lot of our fans know, Poco, a sub-brand, was formed in 2018 under Xiaomi. Ever since then, our name became quite well known in the industry, and that's all thanks to the first product, the Poco F1. Then earlier this year, we came back and launched the Poco F2 Pro, the powerfully cool phone. Then, just 2 months ago, we launched the all-around mid-ranger that disrupted the market. Now, with the success, as of right now, on a global scale, we have over 6 million Poco phones chosen by our fans. Everyone, please welcome Kevin.
My name is Kevin. I'm very honored to be with all of you today. As Angus mentioned, we started as sub-brand and Xiaomi, but that has changed this year. This year, the Poco brand has gone independent. When it comes to the personality and the speed of the Poco team, we realize one thing. That's our team is just like our Poco fans. We all have the attitude, Poco attitude. We are different, confident, and most importantly, passionate about what we love. Technology that can really make a difference on a daily basis. So we are very excited to share with what we plan to launch today. That's a Poco community. This is a place where we want to learn even more from you, but more importantly, allow our fans to have a place where they share their love for Poco or technology in general.
Thank you, Kevin. Now, from a product level, here at Poco, we will stay firm with 3 product promises. Technology that matters, amazing pricing, and reliable quality. Now, these 3 promises has been the standard for all of the products we create. And today, we will bring you the entry-level M series, the Poco M3. Now, for the Poco M3, it is more than you expect. It's time to go beyond the average entry-level expectations and create a new era. Let's start with battery, a feature that is already quite good at the entry smartphone segment, but we took it even further. Now, 5,000 milliamp is pretty good, but for the Poco M3, we have a gigantic 6,000 milliamp battery. And when you need to charge up, we do support 18-watt quick charge. Of course, an inbox charger included. An average smartphone charging cycle count at a normal room temperature is roughly around 800 cycles, and at high temperature, around 500 cycles. For the Poco M3, we have a high cycle count battery that can reach up to 1,000 cycles under room temperature and 600 under high temperature, providing more battery lifespan than your average smartphone. So Poco M3 battery, gigantic 6,000 milliamp, supports 18-watt quick charge with an inbox charger, a high charge cycle battery. This is more battery than you expect. Then we have camera. We all know camera is a hot focus point in the smartphone industry itself. At the entry level, a lot of companies out there tend to put a low megapixel main camera to settle. So instead of a 12 megapixel main camera, for the Poco M3, we have a very capable main camera pushing out 48 megapixel. On top of our 48 megapixel camera, we also have 2 other lenses to push out even more modes for our fans to try out and explore their creativity. We have a macro camera for up-close shots, capturing things from a zoomed-in perspective, a depth sensor to take some awesome portrait shots. First, we have the 48 megapixel, and you can just see the immense detail in this image. We also explored night mode in scenarios where you might actually use. Then, we have portrait mode, using the depth sensor, the details on this image. Now we have my favorite, macro mode. At first look, not many people can probably guess what this is. This is actually a tiny part of a custom PC's rig liquid cooling system. Along with all the different lenses we have also pushed out some really cool features for the Poco M3. We have Movie Frame. In Movie Frame, you're giving all your images a more cinematic feel, making it look even more professional and capturing even more. Then, we also have time lapse. Then we have color focus, and now it will change the background to black and white, while the model remains still in color. And like always, we would love our fans to show what they've taken with the Poco M3. With our 48 megapixel main camera that can capture amazing details, depth sensor and macro camera that allows you to shoot close and with personality. What about viewing? How good is the Poco M3's display? For the Poco M3, we have a 6.53-inch large display, a 90.34% screen-to-body ratio. But we also took good care of our screen. With Corning Gorilla Glass protection technology, the Poco M3 screen is more durable. Poco M3 is more than you expect, so we decided to add in FHD Plus. Now, this is a massive difference. For example, the comparison between HD Plus and FHD Plus on this image from afar, you may not see the difference. But when you're actually spending some time watching something, the difference is massive. It's basically comparing 720p and 1080p. So let's sum it up. A large 6.53-inch display that features a 90.34 screen-to-body ratio, one of the best in the entry segment. Instead of HD+, it has FHD+, which offers 1080p resolution. And actually, it's both Widevine L1 and TÜV Rheinland Low Blue Light certified. And performance, we put a Snapdragon 662, which is the latest 4G 600 series processor launched by Qualcomm this year. Now, this Snapdragon 662 is really good. With an 11-nanometer FinFET technology, it's very power efficient, which is the perfect partner with our massive 6,000 milliamp battery. And we did that test for you. The Snapdragon 662 actually outperforms the 665 in an Antutu performance test by quite a bit. We also have 4 gig of LPDDR4X RAM. This is a very popular RAM technology used through all segments of phones, whether it's flagship or mid-range. And when it comes to storage, write speed is also very good. Not only we have up to 128 gigabyte of option, we also put UFS 2.2 technology in the Poco M3 to ensure any loading time can be reduced as much as possible. But with the latest 600 series processor in the Poco M3 and a very good RAM and ROM technology, the Poco M3 has a very good overall performance. Lastly, the design. Now, I've left this to the last, not because we did not put effort in. Actually, it's the very opposite. We've made some small design moves on the Poco M3. First, we decided to put the Poco logo on the top right corner of the phone. We have the Poco M3 in Power Black, Poco M3 in Cool Blue, Yellow, Poco Yellow. And when it comes to the texture of the Poco M3, it's an anti-fingerprint texture back with just less than 1 millimeter of thickness. Your Poco M3 will be well stable on a flat surface. It weighs just 198 grams, features a dual speakers, giving you more sound, more immersive, and more clear experience. We also have the 3.5 millimeter headphone jack and the IR blaster. It's just what you expected. And on the side of the Poco M3, we do have a side-mounted fingerprint sensor that also acts as a power button. So 3 awesome colors. Lightweight, great audio experience with some must-have features. And now price, or actually I'd like to call it value. If you take a look at our features and specs, you can see we beat out the Samsung A3 One and the Oppo A5 III in almost every single feature. Well, the Poco M3, for our 4GB and 64GB variant, we have an amazing price at $149 US. For the 4GB plus 128GB option, we have an amazing price at $169 US. So let's do a summary. Poco M3 starting at $149 and $169 in 3 very cool colors. For Black Friday, we're gonna give you something special. Instead of us starting at $149 US, you can get the 4GB and 64GB variant at $129. And the higher variant, instead of $169, you're gonna get it at $149. Now, different platforms will have different duration of the sale, so make sure you check it out as soon as possible. But don't worry, we do have more channels for more fans around the world. So please follow our social media accounts in your region to stay up to date on when it will be available. We've really enjoyed sharing with you guys this year.
And thank you all for joining us on the online launch.
Now we're heading towards the end of 2020, and the Poco team look forward to see you guys very, very soon in 2021 with some big news.
Stay safe. Until next time.
Hello everyone, how's everyone doing today? Welcome to this year's last Poco's launch event, and thank you all for joining the stream today. My name is Angus, and I'm Head of Product Marketing at Poco. As a lot of our fans know, Poco, a sub-brand, was formed in 2018 under Xiaomi. Ever since then, our name became quite well known in the industry, and that's all thanks to the first product, the Poco F1. Then earlier this year, we came back and launched the Poco F2 Pro, the powerfully cool phone. Then, just 2 months ago, we launched the all-around mid-ranger that disrupted the market. Now, with this success, as of right now, on a global scale, we have over 6 million Poco phones chosen by our fans. Everyone, please welcome Kevin.
My name is Kevin. I'm very honored to be with all of you today. As Angus mentioned, we started as sub-brand and Xiaomi, but that has changed this year. This year, the Poco brand has gone independent. When it comes to the personality and the spirit of the Poco team, we realize one thing, that our team is just like our Poco fans. We all have the attitude, Poco attitude. We are different, confident, and most importantly, passionate about what we love. Technology that can really make a difference on a daily basis. So we are very excited to share with what we plan to launch today. That's a Poco community. This is a place where we want to learn even more from you, but more importantly, allow our fans to have a place where they share their love for Poco or technology in general.
Thank you, Kevin. Now, from a product level, here at Poco, we will stay firm with 3 product promises. Technology that matters, amazing pricing, and reliable quality. Now, these 3 promises has been the standard for all of the products we create. And today, we will bring you the entry-level M series, the Poco M3. Now, for the Poco M3, it is more than you expect. It's time to go beyond the average entry-level expectations and create a new era. Let's start with battery, a feature that is already quite good at the entry smartphone segment. but we took it even further. Now, 5,000 milliamp is pretty good, but for the Poco M3, we have a gigantic 6,000 milliamp battery. And when you need to charge up, we do support 18-watt quick charge. Of course, an inbox charger included. An average smartphone charging cycle count at a normal room temperature is roughly around 800 cycles, and at high temperature, around 500 cycles. For the Poco M3, we have a high cycle count battery that can reach up to 1,000 cycles under room temperature and 600 under high temperature, providing more battery lifespan than your average smartphone. So Poco M3 battery, gigantic 6,000 milliamp, supports 18-watt quick charge with an inbox charger, a high charge cycle battery. This is more battery than you expect. Then we have camera. We all know camera is a hot focus point in the smartphone industry itself. At the entry level, a lot of companies out there tend to put a low megapixel main camera to settle. So instead of a 12 megapixel main camera, for the Poco M3, we have a very capable main camera pushing out 48 megapixel. On top of our 48 megapixel camera, we also have 2 other lenses to push out even more modes for our fans to try out and explore their creativity. We have a macro camera for up-close shots, capturing things from a zoomed-in perspective, a depth sensor to take some awesome portrait shots. First, we have the 48 megapixel, and you can just see the immense detail in this image. We also explored night mode in scenarios where you might actually use. Then, we have portrait mode, using the depth sensor, the details on this image. Now we have my favorite, macro mode. At first look, not many people can probably guess what this is. This is actually a tiny part of a custom PC's rig liquid cooling system. Along with all the different lenses we have also pushed out some really cool features for the Poco M3. We have Movie Frame. In Movie Frame, you're giving all your images a more cinematic feel, making it look even more professional and capturing even more. Then, we also have time-lapse. Then we have color focus, and now it will change the background to black and white, while the model remains still in color. And like always, we would love our fans to show what they've taken with the Poco M3. With our 48 megapixel main camera that can capture amazing details, depth sensor and macro camera that allows you to shoot close and with personality. What about viewing? How good is the Poco M3's display? For the Poco M3, we have a 6.53-inch large display, a 90.34% screen-to-body ratio. But we also took good care of our screen. With Corning Gorilla Glass protection technology, the Poco M3 screen is more durable. Poco M3 is more than you expect, so we decided to add in FHD Plus. Now, this is a massive difference. For example, the comparison between HD Plus and FHD Plus on this image from afar, you may not see the difference. But when you're actually spending some time watching something, the difference is massive. It's basically comparing 720p and 1080p. So let's sum it up. A large 6.53-inch display that features a 90.34 screen-to-body ratio, one of the best in the entry segment. Instead of HD+, it has FHD+, which offers 1080p resolution. And actually, it's both Widevine L1 and TÜV Rheinland Low Blue Light certified. And performance, we put a Snapdragon 662, which is the latest 4G 600 series processor launched by Qualcomm this year. Now, this Snapdragon 662 is really good. With an 11-nanometer FinFET technology, it's very power efficient, which is the perfect partner with our massive 6,000 milliamp battery. And we did that test for you. The Snapdragon 662 actually outperforms the 665 in an Antutu performance test by quite a bit. We also have 4 gig of LPDDR4X RAM. This is a very popular RAM technology used through all segments of phones, whether it's flagship or mid-range. And when it comes to storage, write speed is also very good. Not only we have up to 128 gigabyte of option, we also put UFS 2.2 technology in the Poco M3 to ensure any loading time can be reduced as much as possible. But with the latest 600 series processor in the Poco M3 and a very good RAM and ROM technology, the Poco M3 has a very good overall performance. Lastly, the design. Now I've left this to the last, not because we did not put effort in. Actually, it's the very opposite. We've made some small design moves on the Poco M3. First, we decided to put the Poco logo on the top right corner of the phone. We have the Poco M3 in Power Black, Poco M3 in Cool Blue, Yellow, Poco Yellow. And when it comes to the texture of the Poco M3, it's an anti-fingerprint texture back with just less than 1 millimeter of thickness. Your Poco M3 will be well stable on a flat surface. It weighs just 198 grams, features a dual speakers, giving you more sound, more immersive, and more clear experience. We also have the 3.5 millimeter headphone jack and the IR blaster. It's just what you expected. And on the side of the Poco M3, we do have a side-mounted fingerprint sensor that also acts as a power button. So 3 awesome colors. Lightweight, great audio experience with some must-have features. And now price, or actually I'd like to call it value. If you take a look at our features and specs, you can see we beat out the Samsung A31 and the Oppo A5 III in almost every single feature. Well, the Poco M3, for our 4GB and 64GB variant, we have an amazing price at $149 US. For the 4GB plus 128GB option, we have an amazing price at $169 US. So let's do a summary. Poco M3 starting at $149 and $169 in 3 very cool colors. For Black Friday, we're gonna give you something special. Instead of us starting at $149 US, you can get the 4GB and 64GB variant at $129. And the higher variant, instead of $169, you're gonna get it at $149. Now, different platforms will have different duration of the sale, so make sure you check it out as soon as possible. But don't worry, we do have more channels for more fans around the world. So please follow our social media accounts in your region to stay up to date on when it will be available. We've really enjoyed sharing with you guys this year.
And thank you all for joining us on the online launch.
Now we're heading towards the end of 2020, and the Poco team look forward to see you guys very, very soon in 2021 with some big news.
Stay safe. Until next time.
Hello, everyone. How's everyone doing today? Welcome to this year's last Poco's launch event, and thank you all for joining the stream today. My name is Angus, and I'm head of product marketing at Poco. As a lot of our fans know, Poco, a sub-brand, was formed in 2018 under Xiaomi. Ever since then, our name became quite well known in the industry, and that's all thanks to the first product, the Poco F1. Then earlier this year, we came back and launched the Poco F2 Pro, the powerfully cool phone. Then, just 2 months ago, we launched the all-around mid-ranger that disrupted the market. Now, with this success, as of right now, on a global scale, we have over 6 million Poco phones chosen by our fans. Everyone?
Hi, Adam.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
All ready?
Yeah. Well, hello everyone. It's been a while, and welcome to Poco Live Show. Today, we're actually very happy to have Adam on the stream with us. How are you, Adam?
I'm very well, and I have a cheeky little number here that we're going to talk about.
Yes. So welcome for everyone to join us on the live show, and just want to give you a little brief background on what Poco is all about. We do have some stuff to talk about today, especially with the brand today at the new phone launch. We came out with the Poco M3, and this is the very first M series launch event by Poco. And we focus on, putting this philosophy of everything you need, nothing you don't. And today we're actually going to talk about the Poco M3, which will really heavily focus on more than you expect. Now, today I have Adam here, and he had played around the phone for a couple of days. So Adam, what do you think?
Well, I mean, I'm sure we'll get to pricing in a second because that is a key factor here. I mean, do you want me to go into pricing now? Because we can.
I think we can hold it off for a bit, but
we'll hold it off. We'll tease that one. I mean, as you'll see later, you set your expectations with a smartphone depending on its price, yes. And I think for the price, which we'll get to, it delivers on more levels than I was actually expecting. I mean, straight away in terms of design, it's going to obviously polarize opinions. Maybe I'm trying to relive my youth, but I think it looks pretty cool. It's definitely. I feel it's definitely targeted towards a younger market because it is quite eye catching and it's similar way to the. Say it again.
You're very young. You fit the. You're
well, I've got 2 kids, so I feel older than maybe I am. But yeah, no, it definitely I love the matte finish all round. Obviously, it comes in 3 different colors. I think I've got the power black. Is it, Angus?
Yes, correct.
Is that right? Yeah. So you've got obviously like a matte black finish all round, which I think is pretty cool. I think that's quite a popular, one of the colors that you can get in smartphones. And it's got kind of like a leathery kind of feel as well, which I think is pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean,
something that is quite rare again on smartphones.
Yeah, it's definitely something that we really want to improve this time. Well, with the Poco M3, I just kind of want to reinforce, and hello to all the fans who have said hi to us. Welcome. We just want to kind of enforce, Poco M3 is our first M series on the global by Poco. And we just want to make sure that we actually do it right. When we first entered this entry smartphone, entry segment, we really want to make sure we do it right. And, like you said, the design of it, start to turn people's heads around, and actually did for me as well. At first, when I saw this phone, from our product team, I was actually pretty shocked. It was definitely eye-catching, and like you said on texture back, this is a lot of small pain points, right? I think as a YouTube influencer yourself, you really review a lot of phones, from mid-range to a flagship, and a lot of common issues, even though as small as it gets, with like fingerprints, leaving smudges on your phone when you don't want to use it, right? Because most people would slap a case on for €1,000 phone or $1,000 US. For us, we kind of want to make sure that our overall design to reinforce this idea of at the entry level, we want to make sure the design looks good. We also want to make sure that you don't really need a case.
I was going to say, it doesn't feel like you necessarily need a case with this due to the materials used and obviously that finish as well.
Exactly. And it's just, having this anti-fingerprint, it's been really nice. I always feel like I used to clean my phone a lot. I would even take off the case and then use a wet wipe and wipe it. But now it's just it's really nice and just not having to use it. Well, on the way of design, we do have, Adam has a power black, and on my table, I do have the cool blue. And this is also a very youth color. And actually, I'm using this color personally myself. And I know there's one other color that a lot of people are curious. And I know, Adam, yourself, you told me earlier you were very, keen to see as well.
The traditional iconic black and yellow of Poco, or Poco.
Exactly. Black and yellow, and we did call this the Poco Yellow. We spent a lot of effort on this color because we discovered, internally from our team, it's yellow is hard to pull off. yellow is really difficult to pull off. Like on a smartphone, you know, we're on a device where you use like every day, you see it, it's hard to pull off. And we spend a lot of time to make sure that this is the right color. And yeah, it turned out super well. It's super popular within the team. And I hope all
I think it's another one.
it.
I think it's, sorry to jump in. I think it's another one of those situations like we talked about the design as a whole. I think you're either going to love it or you're going to want something a bit more subtle. But then, of course, you do have other options, which is great.
Yeah. I mean, on the color, you know, on the back, we make sure that on the side as well, we could put a side fingerprint. I think a lot of fans should know that on a design level, we want to also make sure, just like our Poco X3, we put a side fingerprint for a better feel, just to solve some small pain points of like when you put down the phone, you know, you can still unlock it without picking it back up. Because a lot of entry phones still give you real fingerprints sensors. Under $200, there's loads of phones still doing it. And in 2020, we want to make sure that a lot of user experience on design level is very, you know, good for our users, good for our fans. And I see that a lot of fans are already saying they love the Poco Yellow. And
I was going to say, what do you guys at home watching? What colors would you pick if you had the choice of those three?
Yeah, so I can actually lift this up. Hold on, I'm not trying to. So we do have three colors, and these all three in like, this is the family photo really. So we have Cool Blue, Power Black, and Poco Yellow. But yeah, let's talk about specs, shall we, Adam? I know you've had a chance on your spec sheet to take a look, and you've played around the phone a lot. So what do you think?
Well, I think the standout feature, and this kind of ties in with design as well, so it'd be a good place to start. We have an absolutely massive 6,000 mAh battery cell in here. So considering it's still quite a slight phone, though, it doesn't feel massively heavy. I think, is it 198 grams, I think? Yeah. And it like most phones that are, because I think today, if we look at the smartphone market and you look at flagship phones, for example, I think if a phone tops out 5,000 maybe, I think everyone's like, okay, it's got a really decent 1 day, maybe into the second day sort of battery life. To get more than that and still fit it in a phone that feels comfortable and fairly lightweight. It's not tiny, don't get me wrong, but it certainly feels you know, fairly small for that sort of size, which is amazing. I think it really works really well with the design.
Yeah, for sure. I think a lot of people who, you know, likes big batteries, you know, and just making sure that it lasts long, like it does definitely get over 2 days of usage. And I like to charge my phone before I go to sleep. So I have yet to actually get it down to, you know, below 15% or 20% on heavy usage. And that's constant texting, constant watching videos, and some casual gaming as well. So fans, if you love this big battery, you know, you can scan the QR code and directly to AliExpress, and you can check it out on that platform, you know, to check out, because this honestly the biggest battery the biggest battery in the market, and the biggest battery among the Poco lines as of right now. We're really happy with this. And
yeah, I think one of the other things that I quite like in terms of specs is also with a big battery, obviously that's great for, you know, watching movies, things like that, and you do have a 1080p screen as well. The display is 1080p, so that's on a entry level phone, which is what this is. I think that's pretty impressive considering a lot of phones are still 720p at this sort of price range. So to have that massive battery and a big 6.5 inch, I think, display at 1080p is really impressive.
Yeah, I think one of the things that we really took into consideration is that we realized that, you know, not just us, not just smartphone makers, for fans out there, you know, we actually did a lot of research on this, and we realized that HD Plus just isn't really good enough for 2020. Like if you look at YouTube right now, if you're watching YouTube right now, and you look at settings, you look at the quality list of, you know, 360, 480, 720, and 1080. Like 720 is no longer given that HD mark anymore. So like we're just like, we have to push it up, right? We have to push it up. And we also have to make sure that we get, you know, we want to give our fans the best. And for the price, we want to give them even more. Yeah, and also
and also you've got the camera as well, which, you know, I wouldn't say necessarily this phone sort of focuses on camera, but you've got a 48 megapixel lens as the primary sensor, which again for this entry level price is really pretty something. And that kind of ties in with the chipset as well. Again, not the most amazing chipset, not going to necessarily smash gaming tasks, for example, but I think it's the Snapdragon 662, which is a new one, and it actually works. I think you said when I spoke to you the other day that kind of is designed to work with the 48 megapixel sensor. So that's you get a new chip, and it's a fairly mid-range chip, not necessarily the best, but again at this price I think that's pretty impressive to work alongside that camera as well.
Yeah. I actually just saw a fan ask how to win the giveaway. Oh, so actually to win a giveaway on the Poco M3, all you have to do is tag Poco M3 and then hashtag more than you expect on any of the platforms you're watching, Facebook, YouTube, or Twitter, and you'll be able to be in the giveaway to win one. Yeah, so I think there's a lot of people asking, for the processor. The 662 is actually the latest 600 series processor that was launched this year by Qualcomm under the 4G segment. And the reason why we put that in, like you said, is because we did try to enhance the capability to reinforce that 48 megapixel. Now, this is an area that we want to make sure our fans can still take amazing shots and not, be able to and still be able to process with a lot of fun software features that we have, right? So 48 megapixel, we do have the macro camera and depth sensor, but then along that we have a lot of software features. I don't know if you had the time to check it out, but like movie frame, color focus, time lapse.
Yeah, I've taken a little look at, and of course, again, like it's one of those where not necessarily focused on, but it has quite a lot of different things that you can play around with, and it certainly allows you to be creative with photography and videos as well. So definitely something to play around with if you get it, and obviously having a 48 megapixel lens allows you to get greater detail as well in your specific shots. You can crop in, for example, if you wanted to get different shots from one, larger shot. There's more information there to play around with. So yeah, it's a pretty impressive one. Again, most cameras at this sort of price are pretty much sort of dead and buried, really. So to have a fairly, usable camera is great.
Yeah, and I think for us, we want to give an all-around experience in general as well, because with the design and everything, we want to make sure that the Poco X3 in all three colors, right? We want to make sure that for our TA of young and tech enthusiasts and people who really appreciate the tech that we push out, they get a bit of everything. With 6,000 milliamp big battery, FHD plus display, and the processor and the camera, like at a price, of early bird price right now of only $129. That's why we have a slogan of more than you expect. This is what we mean by more than you expect.
And I think things start to become clear now, obviously, with what we've been talking about, that sort of pricing, why it is so impressive, because the actual phone isn't a flagship phone. It's not a high-end phone, but for $129 that you can get it for, it ticks far more boxes than it crosses. And as you've got on the screen there, stereo speakers as well. It's another one. It's another tick.
Yeah, and as of right now, on the design side, for $129 on top of all the features, we did put in dual stereo speakers, which is definitely one of those elements where I think fans already knows that it's just rarely to see. Even in like the mid-range segment, it's not that common to see, and we want to make sure that we want to give them a very full immersive experience when they're watching entertainment or watching videos and just playing back the videos they recorded. So it's very nice, and I've personally watched a lot of videos. So yeah, having those two dual speakers really helps. I don't know if you had the time to listen to some tunes on that as well.
I've not actually had a chance, but I'm going to very shortly because my review will be going up very soon. So yeah,
yes.
It's obviously the fact you've got the headphone jack as well, another tick. And I just think also in at the moment there's a massive craze of obviously searching for the under display technology for your front camera. Many people are going with a notch of a couple of years ago onto the sort of punch hole cutout, but in between that, we had the sort of the water drop or teardrop notch, and that was personally one that didn't really bother me that much. It was one of the better ones, and I think a lot of smartphone manufacturers are going down the punch hole cutout route because they think that's necessarily looks better. But again, I'd love to hear from people watching what they would prefer, because I'm not too sure how many people would actually prefer a punch hole to a water drop. I think a water drop looks pretty small. It's not too intrusive. But yeah, love to hear what everyone thinks of that one.
Yeah, I think, if we recap all three phones we've launched this year, the Poco F2 Pro, which featured a full screen experience where it was a pop-up camera, right? And then we also explored X3, which had a punch hole camera. And then we have the M3 with the dot drop camera. We explored all three just to see how which one works best, and we found out that actually it's just personal preference.
Yeah.
Personally, I think the M3 with the big display of 6.53 inch, I had a great time watching videos and content. And for fans who love the dual stereo speakers and the full HD display, as of right now, we actually have sold 70,000 phones on the early bird platforms, Poco M3. So, your chance, definitely scan the QR code and check it out. It's honestly a great phone. And, today's Black Friday. So for everyone, happy Thanksgiving and happy Black Friday as well. So yeah.
Don't go too crazy. And obviously there's no crazy people in the shops at this time of the year with everything that's going on. So maybe that's a good thing.
Yeah. We want to make sure everyone stays safe, definitely right now, especially. But yeah, I think for a lot of things that we wanted to talk about today is also on the entry level. I feel like it's just a segment that people has been kind of, when they hear entry segment, especially if you were a flagship user or you're a mid-range user or you've always been an entry user, your first expression or opinion of it is oh, as long as it works, I'm okay with it. And that's kind of where we're trying to go with, we hear our fans and we kind of want to understand how can we change that? How do we change that? And with a good pricing of entry level phone, of course, but pushing out specs that in 2020, we believe should be setting a new standard for the entry level. So I was wondering, as a reviewer yourself, you've reviewed many phones this year. I'm sure it's been crazy for you as well. What are your thoughts on entry level, and how do you think we did in general? Yeah.
Well, I think this is one, and again, I've made notes. I've obviously I filmed bits and pieces for the review, and it's definitely something that I think doesn't get a lot of heat often. There are not millions, but there are lots and lots of phones out there at entry level that simply don't get talked about, don't get any airtime, because people are constantly excited, and rightly so, I suppose, about the new, the best of everything, the most expensive, the most premium. But realistically, most people can't really afford to pay for that globally, can't really afford to pay for those sort of high fees. So the mid-range has obviously got better to kind of combat that, and there are some great mid-range to sort of upper mid-range, almost premium phones now that are sort of competing at that level. But then even below that, there's still loads of people that can't afford mid-range phones, and therefore the sub 200 down to now sub 150, really. There are loads of phones, but they don't get talked about, and often that's generally because the level isn't quite there. There are a few, but definitely this is one that has impressed me very, very much, and not just because I've obviously been invited here to the stream, but because the design looks, it's a pretty impressive looking design. It doesn't feel necessarily like you've got a cheap, tacky sort of phone, and the specs sort of speak for themselves. Obviously, I think if you're a gamer, maybe this might be one to possibly avoid. But then I can't think of many. I can't think of many entry phones that would be great for gaming. They simply don't have the the chipset power to do that. But as an all-round phone for $129, I think it is mad, really. And I think we mentioned that about the X3, how that was kind of bringing down the sort of lower to mid-range in terms of price, dragging everything with it. And I think this is going to do exactly the same, because now you've got phones out there that cost $129. that aren't very good. And then you've got other phones that are a similar sort of quality to this that are priced at 300, you know, and they're going to then have to go, well, hang on, we've brought these sort of phones out. I think off the top of my head, OnePlus, for example, they've brought out the Nord range and then the Nord N10 and N100. And they're sort of similar sort of phones, but I think the N10 is priced at 329. So that really kind of puts a massive cat amongst the pigeons in terms of the pricing for that specific phone. And I think a lot of manufacturers will have to now react to this almost. It's definitely, I've noticed recently there's been a lot of redefining of markets, which is obviously for consumers and people at home that don't want to spend loads of money and want good products. Then I think it can only be a good thing. Not quite sure, again, how you've managed to make a phone like this for £129, but dollars, but you know.
Yeah, I mean, I asked that question a lot, actually. Haven't gotten the right answer from the product team yet. But yeah, I think there's a lot of points where, you know, we recap, you know, with the FHD Plus, I think as a screen, this was the one thing that we actually want to go back to a lot. Because when we looked at our competitors, when we looked at the entry-level segment, there's a couple of, you know, qualities that really kind of felt like, oh, we could do better on this. And for the Poco, we always want to do better, and we make sure that our fans get, you know, what they really need. And for our screen, we offer like a lot. You know, it's not just 6.53, not just Full HD Plus, but we also made sure that we also got us certified. So we're actually Wi-Fi and L1 certified on the screen panel, and 2 violet and low blue light certified. So we make sure that, you know, the necessary things we don't cut out at the entry level, and we still provide a great experience in general. So I think on every single level on display for entertainment, for our fans, you know, we just want to make sure that, you know, you got to check this phone out. And, you know, it's at an early bird price at 129. And I think Adam will agree with me. That's pretty insane. It's even insane for us. Like it's honestly one of the best phones that we pushed out as well.
Yeah, I think obviously you get negatives of certain things. You know, AMOLED displays, for example, are very popular, but yeah, quite simply to get that in a phone at this price is, I mean, you guys might do it in the next one, you never know, but that is pretty almost impossible to do. But as LCDs go, it's, you know, it's bright, it's, you know, it's pretty nice in terms of when you're looking straight on. Obviously, the viewing angles aren't as good as an AMOLED, but it's a decent 1080p, you know, LCD panel. I wouldn't say it necessarily is any worse than phones, like I said, that are £300-400 that are LCDs. So yeah, and I think 4 GB of RAM. Some people might go, you know, in today's market of 10, 12, 16 gigabytes, the big numbers come out. But again, these are priced at £1,000, you know, and I think outside of gaming and huge multitasking, I think any more than 4 is probably would be considered overkill anyway. So, you know, as long as for what most people use a phone for, social media and, you know, browsing the internet, things like that, taking pictures, you know, 4 GB of RAM is going to do the job absolutely fine. So
yeah, I think you know, for 4GB we also thought of, you know, because we have the Snapdragon 662, right, and it has the 11 nanometer FinFET technology, which actually, you know, gives you, it's like the perfect partner for our battery because that's very power efficient. So that's why our battery is able to even push longer than, you know, just a number of 6,000. And then with that and 4 gig of RAM, you know, our performance it's a balanced performance. Like, we're not calling this the performance phone because we want to focus this on actually entertainment and bring, you know, some other features that's actually already existing in the entry level. For example, our expandable storage, right? I think expandable storage has disappeared in flagships.
Yeah,
I think fans still want it, but, you know, for a flagship phone, you don't get that anymore.
Why? That's one question I've always wanted to know, and it might be a finance thing, it might be in terms of the optimum performance, possibly of using you know, external. Is that the main reason?
Expandable storage actually kind of it kind of like, how do I explain this? Actually, it changes the structure of the phone a lot, and because of where it's placed from top or bottom, especially with phones that actually equips, you know, liquid cooling or a bigger battery, it actually takes up quite a bit more space, and it all depends on how it's structured, right? But for our entry level, but we did have to make sure that we have it because we do believe, we're marketing this and we're saying this as a entertainment beast almost.
Yeah.
Because it has a big battery, great display, and dual speakers. We want to make sure that, if our fans want to, save movies on their phones or save a ton of music, which I definitely do. And I'm the type of person who actually, when I have the option of micro SD card, expandable storage, I actually like to save my apps on there because I kind of get worried when my storage is like below 20% free. So I like to save my apps on there. So I'm assuming a lot of our fans actually like to do that as well.
And just one more question, if I'm allowed. The headphone jack, obviously, still widely popular amongst many people. A few companies have touched on why it's disappeared on many phones. Why do you think it has? Is it a storage space thing? Is it a water resistant thing? What is it?
I think for the headphone jack for our end is that we always want to offer like an extra option because as far as Bluetooth headphones or true wireless headphones goes, they're great and they are the future. But for headphone jack, we always want to leave this option out. I think for a lot of people, a lot of true audio tech enthusiasts also believe that having the headphone jack will give you the better audio codec, right? Because Bluetooth and Wi-Fi just isn't as strong as the audio codec. And it's also one thing that we think, when the company and the fans know which company took away the headphone jack, there was a lot of complaints, and I think it wasn't a big hassle for us. I think we always want to maintain it for at least the entry level. I think that it's a necessity, and we also paired up with the IR blaster, right? I think IR blasters, guys, I did not know how good IR blaster was until I really integrated it.
I know so many people go they go crazy for it. Where, if I do a video and miss out the fact that it's got an IR blaster, for example, there'll be hundreds of people saying you didn't even say it has an IR blaster, because it's something that is very, very popular for a lot of people.
Yeah, I think it's still widely popular because it does really like control everything in my house, like the AC, the TV. Still use it, and it's just easy. It's just nice. Like I don't have to find a remote, and it's just it's really easy for me to use. But yeah, I think on Poco we try to keep the essentials. We do our very best, and we make sure that we let our fans know that some of the essentials we really do put thoughts in it. It's also sorry, I just saw a fan that just said all I care about is the charging brick being in the box. Yeah, I mean, we also do put an inbox charger, and but actually we do have an 18-watt fast charge to pair along with 6,000. I believe me and Adam both missed out on that. So it is. We believe 18-watt is pretty good, and our thought behind this, I think a lot of people may ask why not more? Because you have a 6,000 milliamp battery. And I can't imagine if you charge it,
you know when it's gonna it's gonna be ticking down because you've got a long time to prepare for it almost.
Exactly. I think it's also just it's more of 18-watt is really good, and even now some flagships are just barely pushing 20-watt. If some of you guys know which one I'm talking about, but yeah, so I think
also you get the negatives potentially. Faster charging systems can sometimes obviously make batteries suffer as a result. So in terms of longevity as well, again, if you've not got a lot of money and you're buying this phone and you want it to last, for as long as possible, which many people will want to, then obviously I don't feel like many people want to go back to kind of the 5-watt days, and want that sort of fast charging, but don't necessarily need to push it to the point of possibly, making the battery suffer in the long run.
Yeah, I mean, paired along with, the 18-watt fast charge, we also made sure this specific battery in the Poco M3 is actually using a high charge cycle battery. Now, fans may, not know like what well, what that means, it actually means that you can charge up this phone specifically. You know, if you count one cycle per charge, you can charge this up 1,000 times. Now, not because we have a 6,000 milliamp. If we want to play it fair, let's just say you charge it once per 1.5 days. You know, that's more than, that's basically just, it's probably going to be over 3 years of battery life, where it does not depreciate, you know, as much as the other phones on the market right now. So the standard on most phones is actually around 600 to 800. So we've made like a 20% to 25% improvement. And also on high temperature, we also made sure that, you know, it can handle some heat. I think that's one of the issues that a lot of people worry about, is about charging and then generates heat. And if you live in a hot climate, especially like London gets pretty hot in during the summer times. And if you were charging it, out in the balcony and during the nice sun, it matters.
For the three days a year, yeah.
Yeah. Hey man, those 3 days is hard. But yeah, a lot of fans that stays, in our Southeast region countries or, Africa, the summer is brutal. And we want to make sure that, our quality of phones really live up to the expectations and make sure that it doesn't damage. So yeah, 1,000 charge cycles and a lot more also on high temperature. Yeah, and then, we can come back to the camera. I think camera is also one of the areas that I had a lot of fun in. Now, I'm personally not a pro photographer. I'm not amazing at photography, but I had some fun with 48 megapixel, and I had some fun a lot actually on the night mode. I was able to take some night shots because I'm a night owl myself. I like to roam the streets at night and take shots.
Again, along that point, it's like for the early bird pricing of $129, you can get all those things that aren't necessarily flagship, but you can get a very rounded, camera for that sort of price, which most phones at that price won't have a night mode, won't have 3 lenses, won't have a high megapixel count on the primary sensor. So it's again ticking those boxes that you just more than you would expect. I've done it, haven't I? I've got the slogan. I've got it in there. Didn't even plan that either.
Yeah, I think for 48 megapixel, it's also one of the most affordable 48 megapixel on the market. And we want to push that because we also, we take a look at our competitors, guys. We do. Like fans out there, we look at our competitors and we take a close look and we hear your complaints, we hear your compliments. And I just still see phones launching this year and they still have like 12 megapixel main camera. And it's just, we just didn't think that was right. Like we want to do better. We want to make sure we get it best. So just want to make sure that everyone who do like to take photos have a big battery. You can scan the QR code right now for AliExpress and you can check it out. And Adam will also be doing a giveaway for 3 phones this time. And I also personally doing a giveaway for 3 phones. And these 3 phones, we will be announcing the winners on Monday because we're actually I'm looking at comments on YouTube and Facebook, but we're gonna take a good look and just choose randomly afterwards. So winners will be chosen on Monday. And besides that, we do have some extra merchandise. For example, we do have
people are getting very excited for the t-shirts.
Yes, I think t-shirts. We do have, I believe, 10 t-shirts. Yeah. We have, yes, I'm correct. I'm confirming my team. Just so you know, everyone who's telling me to leak, I have probably around 6 people out here looking at me. You guys mentioned leak. They look at me.
What's coming next? What's coming?
But yes, I'll take off. I'll show off the Poco t-shirt. So this is the general post. I apologize for how wrinkly it is. Actually, it is folded up. But yeah, we have a very cool design. So it does says, you're passionate, powerful, cool and fast, and definitely young and fun. And we see.
Can I win one of those, please?
Oh, you get one. You definitely get one. And and we also have more. Just today, I know Poco Global promised we will do more, and I do have more. We have even a bigger tube. So if you guys can guess what this is, it's actually a mouse pad. I think I've showed it on my Twitter actually before to some of the fans. So yeah, so the giveaway will be chosen just like the phones. We'll choose randomly, and we'll have.
And just to clarify, what they have to do is put Poco M3 and then hashtag more than you expect. Is that right?
Correct. So you hashtag Poco M3 and then you hashtag more than you expect, and you'll be in to win either a Poco M3 phone or a T-shirt or this massive giant mouse pad that we have as well, which I use daily, and it's pretty cool. We love it here, and I think all of our teams uses one actually. So yeah, how big is the mouse pad? It's big. It's big. I can
more than you would expect.
Yeah, it's definitely bigger than you expect. It'll fill up the desk for sure. So yeah, so these are the two merchandise we have, and we're looking forward to give it away. So yeah, after giveaway, so I actually want to ask Adam, what are since we're on the topic of phones, and you're such a big influencer on technology and smartphones in general, I want to know what do you think this year's trends was, and also what could be next year's trend as well.
High megapixel count on cameras is obviously something that's come in quite a lot. It's a difficult one in terms of what I think going forwards. Obviously, I think a lot of people are playing around with design because there's only so many ways you can sort of build a smartphone and try and be unique at the same time. Obviously, we've seen Apple go back to a kind of more square feel to it's been quite rounded backs, and rounded curved displays, for example, have been all the rage over the last sort of 3 to 4 years, maybe going back even further from Samsung with the S6 sort of era. I'm not even sure what date that was now. But I definitely feel that the trend is now heading back more towards flat displays. I think people now, because so many companies have kind of played around with the curved displays now, the likes of Huawei, etc. I think companies are now trying to go back more to flat to try and almost be different again in a weird way. And again, like I mentioned with Apple with the square design on the sides, I think you may see quite a lot of that next year. Maybe more sort of box-like designs coming back into smartphone design. It's a difficult one in terms of internals because I don't know obviously what's available and maybe you can help on that, and that can be put into smartphones next year. Certainly the under the display technology for cameras is going to be one that when it comes in properly in a fairly big phone, I think that's what going to be one to kind of be the next big thing almost. Whether it works as well, obviously there'll be teething issues on that, I'm sure. Same with foldable phones. That's not really seemed to go away, even though many people were skeptical and are still skeptical about how important foldable phones are. Maybe Poco are going to bring out a foldable phone, you never know, for the affordable market. But it's definitely one that I can see the benefits to foldable phones. But equally, it needs to be done right. And I think companies are learning from mistakes more than foreseeing what needs to be done first and just kind of getting it bang on.
Yeah, for sure. I think mistakes and comments, from fans, and also some of the reviews we see after being purchased, it's definitely something that we're constantly looking afterwards. And we're trying to improve on our next phone. Whether it's the right series or not, we keep it in mind and we want to improve on next. I saw some fans that said high refresh rate.
High refresh rate, yeah. Of course, a high refresh rate is another massive one that's been kind of pushed out by a lot of smartphone manufacturers, and I think a lot of it helps to make the phone faster, even if your chipset isn't quite flagship. Having a high refresh rate, everything just feels that's much smoother and quicker. Therefore, that is a massive thing. If a company can afford to put that in, then of course then that helps with that.
Okay, yeah, no, 100%. I think there's a lot of things that we still have more to improve on, and we'll constantly listen to our fans, constantly working with our team to improve more. And but as of right now, I think for the past 3 devices we launched this year with the Poco M3, people, I hope you really like this phone and you really can get it right now at 129 USD. And that's insane value. And that's also one of the things that we really want to focus on. That's the one thing that we don't want to disappoint our fans in, is that when we bring out a phone, we want to make sure our pricing is justice for them and just the whole smartphone market. We want to set a new trend because there's a lot of phones out there, I believe, they're continuing their pricing just because it's within their series. And we want to make sure that we don't follow that trend, and we constantly make sure that every single price we make for every single series we have, the F series, the X series, and the M series, it's just right. We don't even think that, you know, it's too expensive, it will be expensive, or it will be too injustice for it.
Angus, just out of interest, I don't know whether you can answer this or you have the information for this. The Poco F2 Pro, when it launched, how successful was that compared to the other phones that you've kind of brought out? Because obviously the F1 was so popular. It was kind of like people were waiting for the next one for quite a while, and then it came out. It was a jump in price because obviously there was more going into the phone, obviously. So the price was justified, but obviously it was attracting possibly a different market that weren't quite there from the start with the F1. How did that phone go down for you guys?
Well, it was our first attempt at the F3 Pro, right? The F2 Pro, sorry, the F3 Pro. So is actually it's kind of continuing the F1 legacy, but pushing it up even more to boundaries. Like, we do put on the aesthetics of, a glass back, which the F1 did not have, but we also put AMOLED display, and then also attempted a full pop-up camera for true full screen, and a 64 megapixel quad camera. So I think it's, in general, if you looked at an F1 and then the F2 Pro closely, it actually can't be compared. It was just in similarities because we used the best processor at the time being. So at the time for the F1 was Snapdragon 845, and then for the F2 Pro, it was 865. Now, guys, F3 Pro is not a leak. I just saw a flag that says AliExpress does not have the yellow version. Actually, the yellow version will be coming in December. And this is because we actually took a lot of time to kind of work out this yellow, and it was really hard to actually get a really perfect yellow on this phone that doesn't wear you out on a daily basis. So now everyone is laughing. My team members is freaking out, but because I missaid, but it's F2 Pro. But yeah, I think a lot of fans kind of knows that for our F series, just to kind of catch up on your question. To us, it was still one of the most affordable Snapdragon 865 phone out there. Yeah. And that's just the facts. Like, if our fans go on Google right now, or they want to go buy a Snapdragon 865 phone, I can guarantee you the F2 Pro is on the top of the list. Yeah. And it was at a time launch, and definitely is at a time right now. So was the price increase on that phone from the F1 simply due to the chipset from Qualcomm being more expensive to put into the phone? Well, yeah, I think F2 Pro use 865, and for fans that that don't want to understand the background of it, 5G is expensive, and 5G is still not everywhere in the world right now. It's actually still very limited, but it is the future. Don't get me wrong. I think everyone knows that 5G is the future. And for 865, it was a big bump up from 845. It's on a cost level and just performance level as well, because it justifies it. Yeah. You buy fly, like, on anything. It's great for gaming, it's great for multitasking, and every phone that has equipped the 865 is a great performance phone, whether it's from us or from anyone. But yeah, I think I still see Poco F2 Pro, and it's just obviously I know that was a slip of the tongue. But have we got
obviously you mentioned about asking what's next for you guys. You know, have we got a potentially another list of? We've got the M series, the X series, the F series. Have we got?
Now you're just helping. Now you're just helping them. Guys, I'm not gonna lie. Literally, my whole team is staring at me, and they're a bit sweaty right now. But
you don't. I mean, you don't have to say. You don't have to say anything about the. You just have to say, obviously. Yeah, I was just curious as to what your angle is in terms of going forwards. To are you going to stick to doing? Are you going to look at the sort of entry level, the mid range, or are you going to do kind of across the board, maybe?
From a corporate level, I think, you know, from our last launch, the M3 launch, for everyone who's watched it, we did list out, you know, our 3 current series of F, X, and M.
Yeah.
And the plan is to definitely continue that. So Fast will be back. So everyone can just calm down. And we will return with all segments for sure. That is the plan right now. Yes. But cool. Yeah, I think for
excited.
Us, you know, if you were in a market for the entry smartphone, this will be the best option right now from us. And I would say, arguably with the price, also one of the best in the market. And you can also definitely scout on AliExpress to check one out. So yeah, I think we covered a lot today, actually, on the Poco M3. So some final thoughts. I know Adam is also uploading his review video very soon. So yeah, I just want to tell everyone, you know, go check that out. To get a more in-depth detail and hands-on.
It should be out later today, but
oh, that's great. Yeah. So
yeah, either later today or sort of tomorrow, it should be available. I've had a good chance to play around with it, and I've got some bits filmed and just kind of bringing a few bits together.
Yeah. So as of right now, for the Poco M3, you know, availability does begin, you know, today. It has begun today actually already on these 2 colors. And this will be coming very, very soon. So it's available today on AliExpress, Amazon, Lazada, and me.com. And then we also have a lot more channels coming on for fans all over the world. So do be patient. We will be there and we will get to you. So actually today, we're actually in Adam, you know, we're gonna look through some fans right now. If you guys have any questions, we would love to see and, you know, answer some questions on both sides, either whether it's about phones in general or about Poco phones specifically. So let's just give fans some ideas. I like how some guy said F series is next. Guys, I'm more than you expect. Guys, every single day I'm more than you expect. So, you know, I could surprise you tomorrow. You never know. How about we keep the questions F3 not related, or F3 Pro not related, or F series not related? What's the back material? So the back material, actually I'll let Adam kind of introduce that part because he's actually had a first touch today.
Yeah, so as I mentioned earlier on, it feels like almost like a leather, and it's really quite nice to hold. It's quite soft and comfortable, quite grippy as well, because obviously, you know, the sea of glossy phones, etc., that will just slide right out your hands. It's kind of like you're using a case with it, but you don't have the added bulk of it as well. So it kind of feels like it's going to be better protected, but also still looks pretty premium. And it obviously I think you said the anti-fingerprint layer as well, almost. So you get the fingerprints obviously on the glossy part up here, but this sort of 2-tone effect almost is pretty cool. And the racy Poco logo there as well.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, for us, it's, you know, we want to offer a very grippy phone. This goes back to the case of like not having the need to use a case. You obviously, if you want to protect your phone, slap on a case. But on daily use, I've been using these phones without a case, and it felt great. And I just want to make sure, you know, when I'm on my bed, I'm trying to watch videos, it doesn't slip out of my hand and hit my face. So yeah, that was the back material. I just saw another question. What do you love most about the M3 by Miss Mobile Tech, and what was the intentions of the design team? Well, I do love the color of all 3 phones.
Is that your favorite color, the yellow? You said you're using the other one, actually, the blue one, was it?
honestly, hard to say. I'm using the blue one,
Yeah.
but I do like the yellow. I usually don't rock yellow, but I love it on this one. And the blue one is also, ever since the X3, I also love the blue. So you can get this blue right now on AliExpress. And yeah, I think the design was, we want to make sure that we do something different. We want to really let it stand out. All three designs, we want people, when you're pulling this out on the street, we want people to turn their heads and be like, oh, what's that? That was the kind of feel we're trying to go for. Because, when you have a yellow phone or a blue phone, I think it tends to do that. And then actually some people that have seen this phone has asked me, is that a case, like on the phone? And I'm like,
the yellow one especially does look like it's almost like a yellow case, yeah.
Yeah. So I think there's some other questions do you have any questions on your side, Adam, that you see that you want to pull apart?
I've not checked Twitter or anything. Because obviously I don't have access to the live feed in terms of the questions or anything there.
I see a lot of questions from fans in India, and I actually so for Poco M3, as of right now, it's only launched Poco Global. So for India, you have to stay tuned with the Twitter account or Facebook account or Instagram by Poco India region. I cannot say anymore. It's not my responsibility.
Did you say, was that the availability of the M3?
For the M3, they will have to stay tuned with India.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and I do thank for a fan that just said congratulations on being a separate entity. Thank you. It's been an amazing journey for a team that has worked on Poco in the past, and I'm working on Poco right now. We're expanding very quickly, and we did say in the launch we will be launching Poco Community, and that'll be coming very soon. So do stay in touch with Poco Global on Twitter or Facebook, Instagram. And I'd love Adam to actually sign up. You guys can also talk to Adam there, and we'll love to. You also love to talk to. I'll love to talk to all of our fans on a daily basis, like I do on Twitter already. And I enjoy it a lot. And also Kevin, our head of global, will also be doing a K2K on Poco Community when it first launched. So everyone do stay tuned with Poco Global on social media to check out Poco Community, because it's very exciting. We want to talk about all of our fans. We want to get tech enthusiasts into the same place. And yeah, any questions on Adam's side?
I've got one here about the stereo speakers. Like I said, it's one of the last things I've not actually tested yet. I was going to get it up then, but in terms of the quality between the stereo speakers of this and the speakers on the X3, are they similar, the same? Is the X3 better?
Sorry, my team member distracted me. So on the stereo speakers, they're actually very similar. So when you play any video, it will be really loud. I think we've gotten a lot of great comments on the X3, and I think you can expect the same for the M3. It's very important to try this out, because I've used this like an entertainment beast. I've listened to music on it. I've also played a lot of video content at night before I go to sleep to watch some videos, including the recent M3 videos on YouTube, review videos. So yeah, now we do have the Poco M3 right now today on sale for early bird price of $129 and $149 on AliExpress and the other platforms that we showed earlier. So please check it out, scan, you can check it out and buy it. So yeah, I think we're done.
Did we get a consensus over which is the best color from everyone? Black, yellow, or blue?
Guys, don't make me choose that. Honestly, it's too hard. As of right now, I think it's actually depending on my mood. I would say I will rock with the blue. I think blue is one of my favorite. It's my favorite color, like during on a daily basis.
Yeah.
And
I kind of meant the guys watching at home. What are their impressions? What do they prefer out of the colors?
Yeah. What do you guys prefer?
Blue?
Really?
Yeah, I'm favorite blue.
Oh yeah, yes. They like blue. Some like yellow. I know they like yellow. They just don't want to say it because it's so rare. So yes, yellow will be coming out once again for fans that really want to wait for the yellow. It will be coming out in December. So it's a great gift for the holiday seasons, for Christmas. It's a great gift for your family, your friends, and yourself, most importantly. So yellow will be awesome, and we have the cool blue and the power black. So yeah, check out these M3. And it's been absolutely pleasure for all of our fans joining us today. And as the year is coming to an end, today is Black Friday. So again, everyone, happy Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving to Adam. And we just want to say winter is coming. So do stay safe and protect yourselves. And we hope to see you very soon. And thank you, Adam, for joining us. And please
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, for sure.
It's been an absolute pleasure. And yeah, I just sort of want to say, I hope everyone's going to be okay for the rest of the year. And yeah, again, going into the new year, I'm sure there's a lot of exciting things to come in the tech world, and I can't wait.
Yes, I can confirm there's going to be a lot of things that will be very exciting for all of our fans. I am definitely, guys, I will disappear from Twitter. If I disappear from Twitter, definitely worry about me, because I'll be worried about myself. So thank you all, and thank you, Adam. Now, everyone stay safe and have a great day.
Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. How's everyone doing today? Welcome to this year's last Poco's launch event, and thank you all for joining the stream today. My name is Angus, and I'm head of product marketing at Poco. As a lot of our fans know, Poco, a sub-brand, was formed in 2018 under Xiaomi. Ever since then, our name became quite well known in the industry, and that's all thanks to the first product, the Poco F1. Then earlier this year, we came back and launched the Poco F2 Pro, the powerfully cool phone. Then, just 2 months ago, we launched the all-around mid-ranger that disrupted the market. Now, with the success, as of right now, on a global scale, we have over 6 million Poco phones chosen by our fans. Everyone, please welcome Kevin.
My name is Kevin. I'm very honored to be with all of you today. As Angus mentioned, we started as sub-brand and Xiaomi, but that has changed this year. This year, the Poco brand has gone independent. When it comes to the personality and the spirit of the Poco team, we realize one thing. That's our team is just like our Poco fans. We all have the attitude, Poco attitude. We are different, confident, and most importantly, passionate about what we love. Technology that can really make a difference on a daily basis. So we are very excited to share with what we plan to launch today. That's a Poco community. This is a place where we want to learn even more from you, but more importantly, allow our fans to have a place where they share their love for Poco or technology in general.
Thank you, Kevin. Now, from a product level, here at Poco, we will stay firm with 3 product promises. Technology that matters, amazing pricing, and reliable quality. Now, these 3 promises has been the standard for all of the products we create. And today, we will bring you the entry-level M series, the Poco M3. Now, for the Poco M3, it is more than you expect. It's time to go beyond the average entry-level expectations and create a new era. Let's start with battery, a feature that is already quite good at the entry smartphone segment, but we took it even further. Now, 5,000 milliamp is pretty good, but for the Poco M3, we have a gigantic 6,000 milliamp battery. And when you need to charge up, we do support 18-watt quick charge. Of course, an inbox charger included. An average smartphone charging cycle count at a normal room temperature is roughly around 800 cycles, and at high temperature, around 500 cycles. For the Poco M3, we have a high cycle count battery that can reach up to 1,000 cycles under room temperature and 600 under high temperature, providing more battery lifespan than your average smartphone. So Poco M3 battery, gigantic 6,000 milliamp, supports 18-watt quick charge with an inbox charger, a high charge cycle battery. This is more battery than you expect. Then we have camera. We all know camera is a hot focus point in the smartphone industry itself. At the entry level, a lot of companies out there tend to put a low megapixel main camera to settle. So instead of a 12 megapixel main camera, for the Poco M3, we have a very capable main camera pushing out 48 megapixel. On top of our 48 megapixel camera, we also have 2 other lenses to push out even more modes for our fans to try out and explore their creativity. We have a macro camera for up-close shots, capturing things from a zoomed-in perspective, a depth sensor to take some awesome portrait shots. First, we have the 48 megapixel, and you can just see the immense detail in this image. We also explored night mode in scenarios where you might actually use. Then we have portrait mode, using the depth sensor, the details on this image. Now we have my favorite, macro mode. At first look, not many people can probably guess what this is. This is actually a tiny part of a custom PC's rig liquid cooling system. Along with all the different lenses we have also pushed out some really cool features for the Poco M3. We have Movie Frame. In Movie Frame, you're giving all your images a more cinematic feel, making it look even more professional and capturing even more. Then, we also have time-lapse. Then we have color focus, and now it will change the background to black and white, while the model remains still in color. And like always, we would love our fans to show what they've taken with the Poco M3. With our 48 megapixel main camera that can capture amazing details, depth sensor and macro camera that allows you to shoot close and with personality. What about viewing? How good is the Poco M3's display? For the Poco M3, we have a 6.53-inch large display, a 90.34% screen-to-body ratio. But we also took good care of our screen. With Corning Gorilla Glass protection technology, the Poco M3 screen is more durable. Poco M3 is more than you expect, so we decided to add in FHD Plus. Now, this is a massive difference. For example, the comparison between HD Plus and FHD Plus on this image from afar, you may not see the difference. But when you're actually spending some time watching something, the difference is massive. It's basically comparing 720p and 1080p. So let's sum it up. A large 6.53-inch display that features a 90.34 screen-to-body ratio, one of the best in the entry segment. Instead of HD+, it has FHD+, which offers 1080p resolution. And actually, it's both Widevine L1 and TÜV Rheinland Low Blue Light certified. And performance, we put a Snapdragon 662, which is the latest 4G 600 series processor launched by Qualcomm this year. Now, this Snapdragon 662 is really good. With an 11-nanometer FinFET technology, it's very power efficient, which is the perfect partner with our massive 6,000 milliamp battery. And we did that test for you. The Snapdragon 662 actually outperforms the 665 in an AnTuTu performance test by quite a bit. We also have 4 gig of LPDDR4X RAM. This is a very popular RAM technology used through all segments of phones, whether it's flagship or mid-range. And when it comes to storage, write speed is also very good. Not only we have up to 128 gigabyte of option, we also put UFS 2.2 technology in the Poco M3 to ensure any loading time can be reduced as much as possible. But with the latest 600 series processor in the Poco M3 and a very good RAM and ROM technology, the Poco M3 has a very good overall performance. Lastly, the design. Now I've left this to the last, not because we did not put effort in. Actually, it's the very opposite. We've made some small design moves on the Poco M3. First, we decided to put the Poco logo on the top right corner of the phone. We have the Poco M3 in Power Black, Poco M3 in Cool Blue, Yellow, Poco Yellow. And when it comes to the texture of the Poco M3, it's an anti-fingerprint texture back with just less than 1 millimeter of thickness. Your Poco M3 will be well stable on a flat surface. It weighs just 198 grams, features a dual speakers, giving you more sound, more immersive, and more clear experience. We also have the 3.5 millimeter headphone jack and the IR blaster. It's just what you expected. And on the side of the Poco M3, we do have a side-mounted fingerprint sensor that also acts as a power button. So 3 awesome colors. Lightweight, great audio experience with some must-have features. And now price, or actually I'd like to call it value. If you take a look at our features and specs, you can see we beat out the Samsung A31 and the Oppo A5 III in almost every single feature. Well, the Poco M3, for our 4GB and 64GB variant, we have an amazing price at $149 US. For the 4GB plus 128GB option, we have an amazing price at $169 US. So let's do a summary. Poco M3 starting at $149 and $169 in 3 very cool colors. For Black Friday, we're gonna give you something special. Instead of starting at $149 US, you can get the 4GB and 64GB variant at $129. And the higher variant, instead of $169, you're gonna get it at $149. Now, different platforms will have different duration of the sale, so make sure you check it out as soon as possible. But don't worry, we do have more channels for more fans around the world. So please follow our social media accounts in your region to stay up to date on when it will be available. We've really enjoyed sharing with you guys this year.
And thank you all for joining us on the online launch.
Now we're heading towards the end of 2020, and the Poco team look forward to see you guys very, very soon in 2021 with some big news.
Stay safe. Until next time.